Hey guys, this is Automotive Anonymous, and today we're going to do the 18,000 mile oil change on my 2022 Subaru Outback Wilderness. It's expected to be essentially identical to the Onyx XT and the other turbo 2.4 Outbacks of the 6th generation. And while I have your attention, if you guys like my video, if you find it helpful, please consider subscribing and liking to show your support and help the channel grow. Changing your oil on a vehicle like this can be quite easy, as Subaru has done a great job with its engineering on the platform. Having 9.5 inches of ground clearance and a top mount oil filter, you could do in your driveway in 30 minutes or less with just a few tools. We're going to cut to the tools and then I'm going to show you how it's done. Alright, let's go over the necessary tools and a couple recommended items to make the job a little bit easier and ensure you have what you need before starting. So first off, you're going to want to lift the vehicle up a little bit more. Just to make it easier, you could either use a jack and some jack stands, or what I'm likely going to do is some Rhino ramps. They add about 8 inches of ground clearance. Additionally, it just makes the job that much easier. And then either old towels or like a creeper to lay on so that you spare your back and your clothes. That's going to make the job a lot easier. And then a few things that are going to be necessary are, of course, the oil. The Subaru uses 4.8 quarts, so this 5-quart jug does plenty. It's under 20 bucks at Costco. It's full synthetic, 0W20, so it does the job. Subaru filter, crush ring. Of course, you're going to need some gloves, and then a 17mm socket to get the oil drain plug off. I use a torque wrench. It's supposed to be 30.8 foot-pounds. If you're experienced with a regular wrench or socket set, you don't need a torque wrench, but it just makes it that much easier. A funnel to fill the new oil so that you don't make a mess, because that's where the fun and funnel comes from. And then, of course, something to catch the oil. So I like the wide opening of this. It also has a stick to hold the old filter so that it can drain into there and clean up some of the mess. Additionally, you may want some shop towels to clean yourself up or any tools. Maybe some Fast Orange when you wash your hands afterwards. And then if you need it, some recommended items are the oil filter removal tool. You just can grab a hold of that and take it off pretty easy. And if you ever were to have a stripped drain plug, this Irwin set from Lowe's does a really good job to get it off. With that said, let's get started. All right, since we have all the tools, step 1, lift the vehicle. Now that the vehicle's lifted, step 2, pop the hood. Step 3, take off the oil fill cap to allow better airflow. And set it somewhere safe because you don't want to lose it. Step 4, set up whatever you're going to lay on and the bucket you're going to catch the oil with. Step 5, have your 17mm socket ready and locate the drain plug underneath the vehicle behind the skid plate. Right there, it's the black one. Step 6, break it loose and catch the oil. This is going to be the longest step. Depending on how long it takes to fully drain, you may be here for 10 minutes, so we'll skip ahead. All right, just a couple minutes in and it's slowing down. You may have noticed there was a little bit of splashing, so good time to clean it up. We're going to use some of those shop towels and a little bit of kitty litter if needed. All right, you can see it's just about finished. So when it comes to a stop, we're going to put the drain bolt back on with the new crush washer. The way I do it is I have the flat side against the bolt, and then more of the rounded side, if you can see that, that is against the oil pan. All right, step 7, we hand tighten the drain plug. Now we're gonna do the 30 pounds to get it really tight. Make sure you don't over tighten it, because that's when you could strip the thread, you could denature the head of the bolt, anything like that. You want to be really careful, not slipping and sliding all over the place like I am. There we go. And it clicks. That's 30 pounds. Step 8, clean up your mess. Get all this stuff out of the way so that we can get up, fill the new oil, and change the filter. All right, everything's cleaned up down here. We have our new oil and we have our fun funnel. We're gonna fill it up most of the way, because again, it takes 4.8 out of the 5 quarts that this jug offers. You see it start to back up in the filter, you know you need to slow down just a little bit. Look at the color. It's a nice golden color. I've used this oil in a few different vehicles and I honestly really like it. I think it's a really good value. All right, let's stop for there. We're gonna do a swaparoo. We're gonna trade the funnel for the oil fill cap. Now that that's on, we're gonna trade the filters. We're gonna take off the old one. If you can't get it loose by hand, I'll show you how the filter removal tool comes in. It pretty much just adds a longer lever arm, giving you more torque so that you can take it off that way. So we will take it off slowly so that a little bit of the old oil is gonna drain in, and then we're gonna clean up around any debris that's in there. You can either shoot that out with air, you can kind of filter it away from the opening, and then we'll put the new one on. All right, not much oil came out. It's all cleaned up and we got the new filter here. Something you're gonna wanna do is get a little bit of oil on your fingertip and go around the gasket, just that black gasket lining just the inside of the metal canister for the filter. I already did that. I put a little bit of oil in the top. It's probably not as important, I would assume, if it's top mount versus one that is a bottom mount underneath the engine bay. But I still put a little bit of oil in there just so there's something to circulate through there. And then we will try to get it on and hand tighten it tightly without letting any of the oil spill out of the inside there. The reason we put oil around the gasket is just because a dry gasket's a sad gasket, and then that gives it a better seal and it's not as likely to crack and cause problems down the road before your next oil change. Goes on pretty easy. I make sure that my hand isn't greasy, that I can really get it tight. All right, and when it won't tighten any further, I call it good. I'll be honest with you guys, I lost count of what number we're on. But we have the new Subaru filter on, it's tight. We have most of our 5 quarts in here. So what we're gonna do now is we are gonna drop it back down so that it's level on the ground off of the ramps. That will also give it a few seconds to idle, to warm up and circulate through it. So then once it's on level ground, we can check the dipstick and we can see how close we were to the 4.8 quarts that we need. All right, let's pull out the dipstick and see how close we were. Remember, that's just on the left of the front of the serpentine belt. All right, we're gonna pull it out, we're gonna wipe it off, and then we're gonna do it a second time just to get any gunk that's on it off initially, so then we can see what the true oil level is. It's wiped off, we're putting it back in, and then this one counts. I hope you guys can catch it on camera. Should be between the 2 dots, and you can see it's pretty full, just maybe a ½ centimeter below the second dot, so we are good. We're gonna wipe it off again, put it back. Since all is good, we will do our last hood drop of the night, and then I'll show you how to reset it in the infotainment screen. All right guys, let's go get the trip odometer equivalent of the oil change reset, and we're gonna see just how close we were to needing it. All right, I apologize for any glare. We're gonna turn the accessories on. And then we're gonna click car info. We're gonna go to the right for maintenance. And then we're gonna click oil. We're gonna go 4 months from today. Actually, let's try this. Nice. All right, we're gonna exit out. Oh, exit doesn't do it. All right, set. 6,000. All right, gonna click X. If you hit update, it actually starts it over again. So now we are good for another 6 months or 6,000 miles. And that concludes our oil change of the 6th generation turbo Outback. I won't bore you guys with the last bit of cleanup for getting the oil poured back into the 5-quart jug, which is how I usually give it back to the parts store, as well as the emptied out oil filter. But you guys could imagine, pretty boring, pretty easy to do. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you made it this far, again, thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. Tell me more of what you want to see, and then just support the channel if that's what you want to do. Take care, guys.